Hello, welcome back to Talking Sense in the middle of lockdown UK. Not that lockdown though, that we can't get a few parcels. So I'm gonna go and wash my hands, disinfect this box, burn all my clothes, and let's get sniffing. So, what have we got today? I've gone and bought via Armis by Beaufort, which is actually the last Beaufort that I need from the Highwater collection. I don't know why I've waited so long to get it, because I mean I haven't smelt it. This is going to be like a first impression. It was a blown by, but I love Beaufort enough to know that I'm probably going to be pretty into it. So I'm kind of comfortable blowing by and stuff like that. Like, you know, from houses where Beaufort, you know, they've got like such a solid style, right? And if you like that style, I think they're pretty safe to blind by, despite the fact that they're quite challenging perfumes. I say all this, probably going to sniff it in a minute and it's going to absolutely stink. That's nice. Thank you for shopping at Liberty London. You're quite welcome, Liberty London. What a little ripper. So, via Armis, what is it? This is a stinky Beaufort beast, as always, and the notes for it are pretty interesting, as always, as you might expect. This one is based on, so all of Beaufort Highwater collection, if you're not aware, are based on kind of pirates, pretty much, but based on like nautical theme and sort of very historical nautical theme. This one via Armis used to be called East India Company, but I think they probably got into trouble with that name, so they changed it to via Armis, which is a force in arms, I think, and it was the like slogan for the East India Company, and it's supposed to be based on like the cargo holds of the old ships that were part of the British Empire or East India Company. The notes are in the top, cardamom, black pepper, tea leaf. In the middle you got whiskey, incense and opium, and in the base you got tobacco, birch and oud. So this one I'm quite unsure of, because I love all the birch tar and all the rest of it from Beaufort, but I'm a little bit concerned that it's got birch tar and oud. It's Cambodian oud apparently, and black pepper. But then I love tea scents, so I'm not sure why I've waited so long to get it. They got each one comes with like a thing on the inside lid that kind of sums it up. I really like the vibe for that. Yeah, I mean I can smell this already, and that was through like, oh my Christ, I can really smell this already. That is mad. This is an absolute honker. So this is a smoky one. So, because they've all got birch tar. All of the Highwater, I think. Fathom 5 might not, but all the others have got birch tar, but they increase or decrease depending. So you've got like Tonnerre, which is an absolute monster. And then things like lignum vitae, which actually is not really birch tar at all. It's got just like a touch. And you know, this one though smells like a birch tarry beast. So yeah, let's give it a go. Let's give this bad boy a crack. Exciting times. Oh, that first spray of a new bottle. You gotta love it, haven't you? I can smell that from here. Jeez. Whoa, okay. This is worse than Tonnerre in the start. Jesus. Holy. Oh my god. What is this? Is a monstrosity. Okay, this smells like pepper, like black pepper, and sort of paper almost. Like it feels like some sort of papery feel, and wood and My Christ, this is a monster. And I thought I'd smell everything with Tonnerre. This one could be more challenging than Tonnerre. Although, no, I was about to say it's calming down, but holy shit, not at all. I'm getting black pepper for sure. Birch tar for sure. And then the rest is a complex monstrosity in the middle. It's not your average tea scent. I feel like there's almost like that Rooibos tea in here. That is the kind of vibe that it's giving off. See, I thought when it is tea leaves, cardamom, tobacco, I thought maybe it might go that chai kind of route with the tea. Not at all. This is black tea, like strong black tea. Black pepper, strong black pepper, strong black tea. Birch tar. To be honest, the whiskey, the incense, the opium, and the Cambodian oud, I don't really feel that yet. The oud, I can say there was this like medicinal blast at the start, and perhaps that was that. But it is tamed now. It's very woody in the base there somewhere. But it's swamped by everything else. My Christ, this is not safe for life. Really good though. I'm so happy I bought this, but wow. I'm gonna wear it, and then I'm gonna come back once I've kind of got to grips with it a little bit, and we see how it progresses and see where it goes. I might do a few updates in the day, just like little ones, like when things like kind of spark, if it changes. But for now, I'm going to leave that here. That opening is I've never smelled anything like that before. Okay, so I'm back. I spent the whole day with via Armis. So what do I think? I think it's absolutely excellent. About 5-10 minutes after I turned the camera off, it started really calming down and becoming something that I could actually wear. Because frankly, that opening was amazing, and it really sort of took your breath away, but sort of figuratively and literally, like took your breath away. It was too much. I couldn't actually walk around smelling like that, and I wouldn't want to walk around smelling like that. But it was amazing. Like as a kind of olfactory experience, incredible. But it's not what you want to smell like. But say about 10 minutes later, and it becomes wearable, becomes really nice. I think the very first thing that happened was it all just started dialing back, of course. But then you started getting this like that papery smell that I mentioned. That really starts coming forward, and it smells a bit like a kind of leathery, papery smell. If you're familiar with Coeur de Noir from Beaufort, smelled very similar to that actually. I think if you take the kind of that dry, papery leather from Coeur de Noir, that is definitely a big part of this. Leather's not in the notes or not in the listed notes, but to me it has a kind of sort of dusty, papery leather in there. Just like the leather accord from Coeur de Noir. This to me actually smelled, and a lot of times, as if Tonnerre had a baby with Coeur de Noir. Via Armis is there or thereabouts, plus with some extras, but I think it's right in the middle of Tonnerre and Coeur de Noir, where it's got all the birch tar and all the wood from Tonnerre, but then it's got all of the leather, kind of papery, dry leather smell from Coeur de Noir, and smash them together, and you're getting like a good half of what Via Armis is all about. So what about the other half? Well, the other half of this perfume is really something. I guess it's the opium accord. Is that so it's quite abstract, but you get this thick, tarry, sweet incense, heavily thick, heavily dense, like a real tar and resin incense, and it's got some like sweetness in there. It's got some herbal kind of green in there. It's got some floral in there, but not in the usual ways. It's very dried and very, say, resinous, dense, thick, and smooth and slick, almost, say, balsamic to the point, of craziness. It's absolutely gorgeous. It is quite savoury, and I wouldn't call it a gourmand, but savoury. It's more savoury than sweet, if you like. Not something that I've smelled before. It's so hard to categorise. You could categorise it as like an incense, but it's too sticky and thick and liquidy for that. There is like a liquid element to this. It's like a sticky tar. It's just too sort of viscous to be that kind of dry, smoky incense that you might expect. But it has the elements of incense. At the same time, you can say, it's quite boozy or quite floral, which it is, both of those things. But I wouldn't say it's particularly boozy scent or a particularly floral scent. It's all just kind of smashed in there, I envisage like all of those things that I mentioned, like incense, floral, herbal, bit of booziness, almost like if you took all of those ingredients kind of dried, and then obviously the booze not dried, and then kind of like smashed them all up, crushed them all up, put them in a mixer, tipped the booze over it, and turned it into some kind of sticky mulch. That's what this would smell like. It's really nice. So that sometimes I think my descriptions don't really sort of get across that they're very nice, because they're quite sort of literal, I guess. But it smells really good. It smells really smooth, really thick, really dense, really plush. It's really nice. It's warmer. It reminds me very much like a warm version of Tonnerre and Coeur de Noir if they had a baby. Like that's what this smells like. And it's really good. It's not easy, but it's really good. The wood in the base is just gorgeous. To be honest, it says it's got Cambodian oud. I don't really get a lot of that at all. In fact, I suspect that's perhaps like where that leathery vibe comes in. But I don't really associate it with oud that much. I don't really feel like it's that oudy. I feel like it's more like a smoky cedar, or very black, thick mahogany almost. This is a super dark fragrance. Everything you smell in it smells dark. So, for example, the tea is extremely black, sort of lapsang souchong. Reminds me a bit of Ruboy, but it's darker than that. So then you kind of start thinking towards like lapsang souchong, something like that. But then of course it's got all the birch tar, so you're gonna sort of associate it more with like a smoky tea than not. But lapsang souchong is probably the best. For me, the tea note doesn't last that long. But everything in this is thick and dark and black. So the tea is black tea. The tar is just thick, sticky, birchy monstrosity. But it's really good. I still think it's challenging to wear. Not as challenging as Tonnerre, because the thing is Tonnerre for me is all birch tar, and then it's cold with the sea smell and that kind of green ocean smell. This kind of scraps that largely and instead goes down a much more balsamic route, which is a little bit more, I think it's just less harsh, it's less cold, it's less kind of like steel-like, if you like. It's a bit more cozy, and it definitely has like a quite sexy vibe to it as well. Although I wouldn't call it like sexy as such. Like I wouldn't call this like a date night scent at all. But at the same time, it does have like a kind of sultry seductiveness to it, but it's edgy. It's way edgier than that. It's not like, oh, you know, a soft velvety seductive kind of, you know, Dior Homme Parfum or whatever. No. Like this is like sexy with an edge. I mean, this is like, it might be sexy, but it's sexy in a way that's very kind of like S&M party kind of sexy, I guess. It's not like your average sexy, but it's really good. It's really nice. I really like it. I think it does have, I think if I was going to criticize it at all, it does have a slight meaty kind of edge to it. Again, like Tonnerre starts with that kind of barbecue birch tarry monster. It does have that kind of slight meaty savory edge to it again. But I don't mind that. It plays into the balsamic elements. I really like it. I think it's excellent. I think it's absolutely a challenge, and it's definitely not a blind buy, but I absolutely recommend everyone to try this if they can. It's not something... I thought by smelling Tonnerre that I'd tried one of, like, you know, or at least one of Beaufort's most demanding fragrances. This is, I think, harder than Tonnerre. I think it's dirtier. I think it's way more complex. Tonnerre is perhaps a bit skankier. This is less skanky, but it's much more dynamic, much more complex, much more deep. Tonnerre, I love Tonnerre, I'm not slagging it off, but it's cold and sharp and quite simple. Not so with this one. This is warm, rich, thick, deep, dense, dynamic, complex, complicated. It's wonderful. Really good. So who do I think it's for? I think it's masculine, but I think it's also, again, like Tonnerre, Coeur de Noir, all of those fragrances, it's so conceptual that I think it's largely genderless. I think in terms of like when you would want to wear it, colder weather for sure. Like colder weather. So I think this works a bit better than like something like Tonnerre again, like for like the spring, and I think it works. You could get away with wearing it on like cooler summer evenings, but for me it's a colder weather scent. Autumn would be perfect. In terms of like dressing it up or down or like social events, I mean, I don't know. Again, just like Tonnerre, it's going to be one of those fragrances that it's not for every occasion, and you do have to kind of get it right. And I think if you get it wrong, you can get it disastrously wrong. But yeah, dress it up or down. I'm inclined to say dress it down because this is very like sleazy, casual, dirty, interesting, artistic scent. And I think that's fine. But at the same time, I think if you dressed it up, there would be like an element here of like real avant-garde, sort of chic style. So perhaps you could dress it up quite well. I'd have to test it out, but I do think it's good. It is highly avant-garde and quite, you know, like haute couture kind of vibe. It's not simple. But overall, really, really excellent. I'm really glad I got it. Not upset that I blind bought it, because that first sniff of it was really, I mean, it was worth it all just for that. It absolutely blew my brains. But a really good scent, I have to say. I'm really pleased with it. One of the better Beauforts. It's up there with like Tonnerre and Coeur de Noir and the whole Hell or High Water collection. It sits really nicely in the Hell or High Water collection. I think it's absolutely deserving of you know, for me, that's one of my favourite collections of all time, and I think it absolutely deserves to sit in there with those. So yeah, that's that. Thanks very much for watching. Like, subscribe if you want. If you don't worry about it. Nice one. Cheers.